Rabbi, can I ask you a question real fast? I think we still
Sure.
have about 15 minutes left in the slot, but the topic has come up for me, not a lot, but at least probably I don't know, and half a dozen times in the past year regarding Muslims, and I've met I would say a lot of Muslims, I think, in different areas and towns and even online. And everyone that I've ever met is really kind and humble. They're not trying to hit you with any weird agenda. But something that came up in chat that I was kind of curious about. It says, and it was a good point. It says we shouldn't worry about the nice Muslims. We should worry about their sacred text. Is there something in their text that tells them to mistreat others that don't follow them? Or what is the big fear besides the news outlets? What is the big fear of Muslims?
Okay, I mean, there's something in Islamic texts that's disconcerting and is anti-Jewish and might play itself out. I think you're asking, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. All right. So unlike the Christian Bible, which really all of it really speaks in a way that's very unflattering of Jews. The church fathers were not crazy. The Quran is sort of a mixed bag in that if you want to like Jews, you can find passages in the Quran that speak of the Jews favorably. If you want to not like Jews, there are passages that certainly you'd find passages where you might not find Jews favorable. But in what's called the Hadith, how do I explain that? So these are the supposed sayings of Muhammad. So aside, all Muslims, regardless of denomination, like 90% of the Muslims are Sunni Muslims, roughly 10% are Shia Muslims, which is, there are a lot of, Iran is the center of Shia Islam since the 16th century. There are no Shia Muslims in Israel. There are in Lebanon. But all these different Muslim groups all believe that the Quran is their central text. However, there's a hadith. Hadith are texts that are putative sayings of Muhammad, like an oral tradition that Muhammad said this or did this. We're going to use the word hadith or sunnah interchangeably, although they're not exactly the same. And I say putative because Muslims recognize, Orthodox Muslims, I mean Sunni Muslims, recognize that the vast majority of these supposed sayings of Muhammad are really fake and they're made up. And this is a big study in Islam about which of these thousands and thousands of supposed sayings of Muhammad which they believe is authentic. There are Muslims, incidentally, who don't believe in any of that. They only believe in the Quran. And they refer to those fewer hadith that they believe are authentic as those that are strong. They actually use that term. There is a hadith that's describes it that's eschatological, meaning it refers to what Muslims believe in the end of days, that a rock will scream out to the Muslim, "There's a Jew behind me, kill him." A tree will scream out and say, "There's a Jew behind me, kill him." That is in a hadith in Islamic literature, and it is among the hadith that almost all Muslims consider to be authentic. Now, these hadith are these supposed sayings of Muhammad that are not in the Quran are put into writing centuries later. I'm not going to go further with it. So that is no doubt the text you're referring to, and it does come from a hadith that Muslims consider to be authentic, and therefore it's a troubling text because there are a lot of Muslims that like Jews and like Israel and like the nation of Israel, and they have to find another way to interpret these texts, no doubt. But that text is very frequently cited by Muslims who can't stand Jews and can't stand Israel and look forward to the day when the Jews will be killed by Muslims. The infidels will be killed and the Jews will be the implacable enemy of Islam, and will be in battle with the Islamic world at the end of days. So that passage cannot possibly be interpreted in a way that makes Jews look good. There are other passages which are open to interpretation in Islamic literature that could be interpreted very, very badly, or could be there are Muslims who interpret it in a way that's not as bad. But this one is definitely the most anti-Jewish passage in all of Islamic literature. If you enjoyed this program, please like and subscribe.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה בחפצו כל